The Jeremy Vine caller insisted the Prime Minister should step down after admitting in the Commons he attended a gathering of an estimated 40 members of staff in May 2020. At the time, regulation dictated Britain's stay at home and all contact with people outside one's bubble be limited to one person in a public space. Dave raged at Boris Johnson as he pointed out that while he met with staffers and colleagues, the Queen was being forced to isolate in Windsor and later had to be seated away from her family at her husband's funeral. Dave from Essex said, "I do not accept Boris Johnson's apology in way, shape or form. He should leave now. One thing that hasn't been mentioned is that he has insulted our Queen. She sat there, in her church, at her husband's funeral, alone while he can go and have a few wines here, and a few wines there. That's totally wrong. He should accept what has done and, as a gentleman and a man, walk away like he should do." Boris Johnson hit a huge blow as Jonathan Van quits as Deputy Chief Medical Officer. The Queen and Prince Philip entered isolation in March 2020 and their contact with other people was limited to members of what was dubbed HMS Bubble for months. She was able to reunite with some members of the royal family at the beginning of December but had to maintain social distancing. Her Majesty has remained at Windsor since the start of the pandemic and she attended Prince Philip's funeral service seated several pews away from her children and grandchildren. The Prime Minister apologised for the indiscretion and claimed he had not realised the gathering was a social rather than business meeting. Sajid Javid announcement, COVID update today. After fresh demands for major rule change, he also insisted the garden at number 10 had become an integral part of the office due to the important role fresh air played in reducing the risk of infection in workspaces. Mr. Johnson said, "I want to apologise. I know that millions of people across this country have made extraordinary sacrifices over the last 18 months. Number 10 is a big department with a garden as an extension of the office which has been in constant use because of the role of fresh air in stopping the virus. When I went into that garden just after 6 on May 20, 2020, to thank groups of staff before going back into my office 25 minutes later to continue working, I believed implicitly that this was a work event." He added, "With hindsight I should have sent everyone back inside. I should have found some other way to thank them. I should have recognized that even if it could be said technically to fall within the guidance, there are millions and millions of people who simply would not see it that way, people who have suffered terribly, people who were forbidden from meeting loved ones at all inside or outside, and to them and to this house I offer my heartfelt apologies." While several MPs have accepted his apology as sincere, other members of his own party have been suggesting it could be time for him to go. Scottish Conservatives leader Douglas Ross and his predecessor Ruth Davidson both also urged Mr. Johnson to resign if he were found to have breached COVID rules by the inquiry top civil servant Sue Gray is currently conducting.